Hello guys, in this video I'm going to be building this Tamiya Panther G Late version and painting it in the German late war ambush camo scheme. I'm also going to be making a couple of minor alterations to the kit to make it fit in with my diorama idea that I have. I'm not going to take you through every single step of the build, but as you can imagine with the Tamiya kit the process was very smooth. There are very few mistakes you can make. Any parts where there might be confusion tend to be keyed so they can only go in one way, and everything tends to fall together quite well. You can see here that famous, or perhaps infamous, overlapping wheel scheme that the Panther had, and of course that would make work very difficult for somebody who wanted to repair or replace an inner wheel there. In my case I left these wheels off until after painting. With these kits I like to paint the inside black to reduce the reflection of light, and that's particularly important here on the Panther because we've got all those grills on the rear where it might be possible to see all the way through to that plastic inside, and that really doesn't look good. This rear hatch can be built so that it opens and closes, but to be honest, because there's nothing inside, I just glued it in place, and that way I didn't have to do all the parts for the mechanism either. We've got a two-piece barrel here, so you will need to deal with the seam going down that. However, that line across the mantlet there that looks like a seam line is not a seam line. That's actually part of the real world tank, and you can see that on reference photos. So this Tamiya kit has lots of guidance holes on the side for the attachment of all the tools. That's really quite handy if you're adding them, but in my particular case I'm not going to be adding them, so I need to fill those holes up. And I'm doing that with some Tamiya putty. At one point I did move away from the Tamiya putty towards the Vallejo water-based putty, because cleanup's a lot easier, but the water-based putty doesn't sand quite as well I find. I find that when you do sand it, it often tends just to pull up out of whatever you put it into. Once all those parts were added, I was able to give the entire model a coat of black XF1 from Tamiya. As always, that acts as a bit of a shadow coat in case I miss any areas when I come back to paint it later. It kind of looks cool in black, to be honest. So the scheme I wanted to apply to this kit was the German late war ambush scheme. I think it's called Hinterhalt in German, although I'm probably pronouncing that completely incorrectly. The aim of this scheme was to try to recreate the rays of light hitting the ground as they're coming through trees, where German vehicles would often be positioned at this time of the war. So we've got two ways of achieving this. One was the disc scheme, as you can see here. This is sometimes known as the corn chip scheme because as the masks were used here to create these images and these discs, you can see it leaves sort of dunkelgelb little corn chip shape slices in various places. And slightly different, but also using this template on this Sturm Tiger. The second way of doing things is the dot pattern, where we've got the standard three colour scheme of the dunkelgelb, the dark red-brown and the olive green, and then we have opposite colours of dots on those colours. So for example, on the yellow we will have the green and the brown dots, and on the brown and the green we tend to have the yellow dots. It's hard to tell across from period photos, but I haven't seen many models where we do have dots of all three colours, but I guess a lot of that is open to interpretation. Anyway, it is the second scheme that I'm going for, the dot scheme. As I showed you in my recent Ersatz M10 Stug video, I've got a few different Dunkelgelb colours from AK Real Colours. However, for this case I wanted to use something slightly different, really just because when I want two vehicles in the same diorama, I want them to have a slightly different base coat colour. So in this case I mix some Tamiya XF60, which is their Dunkelgelb colour, with some XF57, which is buff, to lighten it. And this is the effect of giving the model a coat of that, thin enough to show the shadows in some areas, but still covering most of it. You'll notice that I've missed off the machine gun part on the bow, and also on the turret I've missed off the commander's cupola. There's a good reason for that. So once the Dunkelgelb was applied, I then applied some olive green. This is NATO green from Tamiya. My airbrushing is a bit rough here actually, I'm not particularly pleased with that. And then on top of that we have the red brown, which is NATO brown from Tamiya. In this case I decided to leave the barrel German grey to simulate the dark grey primer that barrels had. So I'm imagining here this barrel's a sort of a replacement, and therefore it hasn't been painted since it's been added to the vehicle. The next step was to add the dots. I started on the turret, and I wanted to add dots of the Dunkelgelb to both the green and the brown. This is the exact same mixture, of course, that I used for the base colour, and it's the same thinning as well, so it's quite a thin paint. I don't really want these dots to be too raised from the surface. If we look at reference photos, the dots are quite densely clustered, so I sort of went over each panel, put some dots on, and then sort of filled in some of the gaps as well. We have to try to be random here. It's quite hard to be random as a person, as a human, but we have to try our best. There we go, there's our yellow dots done, and I think that looks pretty good actually. I was quite happy with this at this stage. And then of course I decided to go for just green dots, and I decided the green dots would go only on the yellow, so I'd have no brown dots at all, and just green on the yellow. I'm not 100% sure how accurate that is. As I say, our sources are generally black and white photos, so I think you could argue either way. And there we go, there's our base of the ambush camo, and I really like that. I wasn't super keen when I did the airbrushing initially, but I really like the way this has turned out. I did have to give that barrel another sand because the seam line was still visible after painting. But the next job was to apply the decals. I did have a bit of a struggle really with the old VMS gloss varnish. I don't know if it was because of the temperature or something in the garage when I was spraying it, but it really didn't come out very well at all. Luckily I only put it down where I want the decals to go. I then added the wheels. It seems fairly standard that the wheels were not camouflaged, and I'm sure I've read somewhere that's because, of course, if you put a pattern on the wheels and then obviously the wheels are turning, that movement of the pattern is actually responsible for making the vehicle stand out more than if they were just a plain colour. Then finally I added a bit of red primer to the area where the machine gun mount would go in the bow. And again, I do need to touch up that gun barrel. And so this stage of building and painting is complete. You can maybe take a guess as to why I have left off the bow machine gun, the cupola on the turret, and the side skirts. If you can, then do let me know in the comments below. And in a future video you will see exactly what I'm going to do with this Panther G. But until that video, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. And a special thanks to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. All of your support is massively appreciated, so thank you very much, guys. I will be back with a new video soon, and until then, have fun modelling.